Mic prepped, hopefully not too heated here. Easing us into the weekend with a beautiful work here. I mean, it's got Rothko written all over it. Artist Journal, October 14th, 2022, Berlin. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, your artist reporter, which might not mean what you think it means. This is not a news program. Welcome back, one and all. Thank you for everything, the likes and the comments and everything. There's a ton to get through today and some really head-turning fun work. This is the first from our friend, a new discovery here, MCHX B35. So it looks like a color field painting. Actually, they write that in the tags here. Machine learning, digital color field, AI. So a moving color field painting made with AI. So it's got Rothko written all over it. We'll take a quick look for those who might not be familiar. I mean, I assume sometimes that everybody knows who Rothko is, but it's possible on the internet here. We have some young people that watch this, which is awesome. So it's good to educate along the way. Here's some of MCHX's other work. Soft Wind. So you see a lot of this color field work and color field painting. For those that don't know, Mark Rothko, we were talking about the abstract expressionists a couple of days ago, or actually it's probably a week ago now. It's all blending into one. So you see the influence here. This has Rothko written all over it, and AI, that's a really nice one. I wonder, you know what this also reminds me of? This is really out of left field here. NASA Mars drawing. If you've never seen this, I mean, it's a weird, am I even going to be able to find it? It's one of the first drawings made by a machine. NASA, how is this 1960s? And then we will get back to our regularly scheduled programming. But my friends, you must see this. This is a beautiful work of art. What is this? First TV image of Mars, hand-colored, NASA's solar. So look at how beautiful this is. I guess it's hand-colored. So this is from, I think, the 60s. Look at how beautiful that work is. So anyways, yeah, first TV image of Mars, and then we will get back to our scheduled programming here. July 15th, 1965, first TV image of Mars. A real-time data translator machine converted a Mariner 4 digital image data into numbers printed on strips of paper. Too anxious to wait for the official processed image, employees from the telecommunications section at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory attached these strips side by side to a display panel and hand-colored the numbers like a paint-by-numbers picture. I can't help but say this just feels like such an important artwork. Aesthetically, scientifically, this has humanity written all over it, and they call it the humanities for a reason. In a lot of ways, more unscripted business here, in a lot of ways what we're doing here is celebrating humanity. That is what art is doing in a lot of ways, and investigating humanity. This has humanity written in big capital letters, big headline, wall-to-wall headline. All right, so back to where we were. So MCHX, how did we get here? So continuing on now, so interesting artist, MCHX. In passing, look at this, my friends. Look at this. Computer Still Life number 3 is minted. I did not know about this artist till I came across Hercules over here on Twitter. I don't know what to do with my life. Well, I think you do, Hercules. I think you do. Check this out. It's got great music, or sound, I should say. Look at how fun this is, and beautiful, and great. This is exactly what I want to see that I didn't know that I wanted to see before I walked into that museum. That's why I bought that ticket, so I could get that nice big surprise. So Hercules, I think Hercules does know what to do with his life. Very, 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 very cool. And I think I think this is multi-generational. Like my mom watches this. I think my mom will really enjoy something like this. She remembers these computers. Hi mom. And Pixels, here are just a couple other works by Hercules, whom I've never seen before. So this is without sound. You got the hen, the old object, or I guess hen still exists in the form of Thea. We don't need to get into that. So interesting. And look at this beautiful still life. Interestingly, it's a GIF. You see, and I was like, I don't see the movement, but you do in the loading. See that? So really poetic work here. Retro tech, huge theme, huge theme that we see over and over. Modern still life with the chips. You can't tell though if it's 1980s still life or if it is something more recent, but I'd say this is a 1980s still life, is what I would guess. A little bit of paraphernalia there. So yeah, you can't even get that. That's an edition of one. And look at this. Sold after an hour and a half on July 8th to Sky Goodman for a mere 10 Tezos. This looks like 1,000 Tezos work to me. Check this out. Interesting, measureless, experimenting with setting boundaries for myself. Gotta love these write-ups. So look at this. Connect equal D, number 2. Pretty cool work, if you ask me. If people are paying like $100,000 for a Fidenza, surely this could be hung in the same room, if you ask me. Maybe that's sacrilege to some people. Maybe it's better. I don't know. Just being provocative here, folks. Connect equal D, number 3. Again, just kind of fun and interesting. Very interesting. Measureless. And there's one more. Buy for 11 Tezos, this one. So just very cool abstract work, animated GIF. And let me just look at their general. So you see these last 3, they're kind of their own thing. There's a little series here, but very impressive. You can get for 3 Tezos, the last 2 and 11 Tezos. So you can get the whole series for like $25, $30. Pretty awesome. That's why we love to collect on Tezos. Uxine, should really ask him how to pronounce his name. Look at this cool work. What is this called? A prototype for success, warning flashing images, and warning to everybody, cover your eyes. It's not an extreme flash here. One of one, and what happened with this? Sold for 111 after a mere 20 minutes. So UC Zine, a very healthy market over there. Just a cool work. Continuing on, and Popple, one of our favorite pixel artists over here, has a new work. You can't buy it. It was sent to people. We'll take a look at that in a second, but let's just look at the art first. The Mysterious Beast at Shibuya 109, The Beast is No More. I think Popple's a bit of a writer, I think. Upon its carcass, a new power has emerged, and it can just lead to one's demise. Commissioned by Xerox NFT, for Creation Party, Not Godzilla, 1200 by 720. It's pretty big, actually, for a pixel work. So anyway, it's just kind of cool. Godzilla kind of looks like a Tokyo scene. And a lot going on here, more Godzilla. So anyways, just a very interesting work. So if you want to get this, you see it was sent first to the commission, all 25 copies. And then it was sent and then the commission sent it to a bunch of people. So I don't know how this works. Maybe you have to buy a special token. It gets complicated sometimes. But if you work, you'll figure it out. Here's the activity. Yeah, so I don't know. And yeah, here's other works owned by the commission. So there's some sort of party going on. Good news on Spiegel's Maskinen's front. So he's kind of on a roll, I would say a little bit. And he's selling work on Foundation now. Thank you so much, 1 Cent Whale, for collecting Backdoor, and welcome in the great company of collectors of Signs of Life at Foundation. So his ETH work is selling. I don't know if there's any volume here. Not really. So kind of a cool work, though. Here's a bigger version. And it sold for 0.85. So pretty nice. And you see kind of his classic trademark kind of pixel work, some retro tech, big cell phone, a little bit of flashing images. He's the guy that does the Abnormal, which I'm a huge fan of. So congratulations to him. Now, Slave Angel, I think is how you'd pronounce that, also has a new work, edition of 25. So just in Slave Angel's typical style here, the kind of one-bit animations with crazy things going on. These look like rear-view mirrors. Internal shackles in captivity of the situation and their own thoughts. One-bit gift by Slave Angel 2022. Still available, $388. Cap'n released a new work. This is The Second Death, The Lake of Fire. So interesting. Do we have a... Let me get a higher res version. Yeah, so there we go. So interesting work. So moving pixels and static pixels on front. Trademark for Cap'n. Still available, edition of 10 and only 2.2 Tezos. I picked this up. This is not new, but I just thought it was such a great work. I wanted to put it with our pixel art section here. And yeah, Vaporwave. I've been calling it Synthwave. That's more music. Vaporwave colors, which we've been commenting on. A lot of that anime manga comic stuff that we're seeing kind of has a Vaporwave colors to it. So this is called Pixel Tosh Plus Floral Shop. So you see this is on Versum. So you're starting to see a bunch of works that you didn't see before that were kind of hidden on Versum unless you went to Bursector's profile on Versum before. But now, because they're integrated, you see them. So I picked up one of those. I thought it was just beautiful. This guy's interesting too. Maxim Rykov, the bookworm. Just an interesting pixel artist. You know, always kind of a little bit creepy, a little bit fun. He first turned my eye when I saw... and probably a lot of you have seen this work, The Magician. It's only 60 now. It was going for like 100 before. Just kind of a fun pixel artwork. So he's got his very trademark style. What is the edition? Edition of 20. So The Magician. A new work by Acid Boy, only 2 Tezos, edition of 25. Kind of nice. I don't know if I'd call it a new direction, but it feels a little bit different from previous work by Acid Boy. He's pretty prolific, and he's also on Super Rare, so we'll see if some of this loads up here. Yeah, you can see, you know, a lot of flashing stuff, just very cool artist. I'll let you check that out. Actually, there's another work here. Yeah, so you see. That is Acid Boy. New work by Board Me Social Club. I'm kind of mystified by, because this looks like The Myth, so I'm not sure what's going on here. The King is Dead, Long Live the King. And then that cool, but they're really cool kind of works, edgy. I like just I think there's a lot of, I almost want to call it, for lack of a better term, courageous moves done with, say, like the background color. Just everything about it is just kind of odd. I mean, it looks like that Mary, the Mary that we saw in Bazaya's work and Quilanina's work. It looks like a reference to that. So anyways, I don't know, and I call it myth. Myth might be referencing something that's like in Latin American culture, okay? So, because you see it here, that kind of mouth. So anyways, really cool work. Edition of 5 and only $350 if it's still available from the Blue Notebook. So Board Me Social Club continues to turn my head here with just kind of original, pretty edgy works. Xander Price and Lost and Found. Now, this is kind of this is a pretty dark work here. And it looks like almost Shiva, Destroyer of Worlds, is taking on the police here. So I can't remember what ACAB, I actually looked this up, and it's something against police or something. So anyways, very edgy work, more decapitation. So Rise Above, kind of, so this is what you see in the arts, you know? A lot of edginess. That looks like Xander Price's figure there, character. So Dan Control put out a very cool version of Gertrude Stein. Now, a lot of you know this from Picasso, and he did it in his trademark what I almost want to call airbrush style, but it's almost like digital airbrush because you're seeing gradients here. It's almost like using the gradient tool with some airbrush sort of thing. I was quite impressed with this work. Reserve 0.3 ETH. So Gertrude Stein, we'll take a quick look at Gertrude Stein just for the history side of this. First of all, she was friends with Picasso. She's an American writer, and this portrait was probably done in like 1905. It's part of the red period, or the rose period. Sorry, not the red period, the rose period. And yeah, this is a portrait of Gertrude Stein. So you see, obviously, Dan Control is referencing that. This is a very famous portrait. Gertrude Stein, this is her. And she grew up in the US. I was just sort of looking at this. Yeah, and they kind of all hung out. She moved to Paris 1903, stayed in France. She hosted a Paris salon, okay? And people who visited were Pablo Picasso, Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Sinclair Lewis, Ezra Pound, Sherwood Anderson, and Henri Matisse, and they would meet. So you see how these art movements really revolve around groups and exchanging ideas. And I like to think maybe a little bit what we're doing here digitally is something not too dissimilar. Okay, and now she is famous, most famous for the saying a rose is a rose is a rose is a rose, and how meaning shifts with repetition, which is very interesting. And probably her most famous novel that I'm familiar with is, I think it's called The Making of Americans here. A friend of mine was reading it. Yeah, The Making of Americans, brief being a history of a family's progress by Gertrude Stein, 1925. And you see just the style. I am writing for myself and strangers. This is the only way that I can do it. Everybody is a real one to me. Everybody is like someone else to me too. No one of them that I know can want to know it, and so I write for myself and strangers. So she was influenced by Cubism and Picasso, and this is almost like a literary Cubism. I'm going to read a couple of more lines, because this may be the last time you experience Gertrude Stein for a while. It's not the kind of author you're necessarily picking up and reading on the weekend every week. So here's just a little more. Everyone is always busy with it. No one of them then ever want to know it that everyone looks like someone else and they see it. Mostly everyone dislikes to hear it. It is very important to me to always know it, to always see it, which one looks like others, and to tell it. I write for myself and strangers. I do this for my own sake and for the sake of those who know I know it, that they look like other ones, that they are separated and yet always repeated. There are some who like it, that I know they are like many others and repeat it. There are many who never really can like it. So you see where I'm going with this. It's pretty kind of abstract. It's not worrying about putting coherent sentences together. Okay, so just a little taste of Gertrude Stein here, as we like to just kind of ground things in the tradition here, which in my universe gives us some credibility. Okay, anyway, on and on. Okay, so very cool drawing here. Artist, new discovery, discovered on Twitter, Mapignon. I guess female artist, really cool work. I just think it's great. Again, this has gallery written all over it. I love this modern clothing. You see the Vans here. You see the Doc Martens. I'm huge on the shoe wear trend. You see just modern stores and everything. An art of the present. All women in the image, which is interesting in and of itself. London High Street. Okay, so interesting. Let's continue. And here is a little bit. Hi, I'm Mappin. I'm passionate about flowers and colorful illustration. You will always find my works with vivid colors. Nice to meet you. So you see, kind of reminds me of Del Cante Draws, that artist who does a lot of physical work and then makes them NFTs. They seem to be kind of similar in the way that they're kind of illustrative and they fill the page. Quilanina is trying Procreate. And so I thought that was just interesting. Back to the physical artists. She does her paintings and turns them into NFTs, and they're quite popular. So she's trying Procreate, which I think is super interesting. This is the first time I'm painting digitally, and I'm having fun learning. I notice I'm less scared to screw it up than when I'm painting on a canvas. And this is actually quite profound. Undo. And also we were talking about remixing yesterday, but Control Z, or being able to go back, is huge. And being able to save different versions, it creates a whole other, mentality when you're building art, because when you're just on canvas, basically if you screw up, you have to paint over it, as we all know. So enjoying undo, it is a luxury, okay? Less scared to screw it up. So maybe it creates a more experimental mentality. This was kind of interesting. Ed's back, Ed Marola. So he did an airdrop for people that owned this token. And I was like, what is the token? First, let's look at this thing. And it's one of these ones that you can move around. And it looks like a take on an ancient Greek vase, ceremonial vase, or just some kind of vase, right? And so you had to own 5 of these. And there aren't many of these things. There are only 20. You basically need 5 XTD dollars, 5 Tego Dago monies. And if you own 5 of those, you can get this. So there are probably only 4 of these then, or there's 20. Yeah, I don't know how that works, because I only see, if you need 5, anyway, you guys do the math there. So cool work and cool idea is actually where I'm going with this. Because I think a lot of us have thought about this token idea and airdrops. What's interesting about this is the token is actually an NFT, right? Rather than just some crypto that you hold in a wallet. This really simplifies stuff, and a lot of people do it, like Purple Drank with the Drank DAO. If you own that token, then you get the free airdrops. So just kind of fun. I don't know if the SEC has problems with that. I sure hope not. That'd be kind of ridiculous if you ask me. New work from Shirley Preston, again, juxtaposing Henri Rousseau with Xcopy and some sort of maybe right-click saving or something. It looks like something's being copied over there. So just another kind of interesting work from Shirley Preston. Stable Diffusion, which we see over and over. This is starting to look like the go-to tool. And Xcopy by Hellhound. After Hours at the MoMA. And continuing on, Book of Gardens. So Eddie Treed just has a new series, and he's doing this book, this imaginary page from the Book of Gardens. And what I liked about this was how weird this book is, right? Because the divider is here, so the left page is bigger than the right. And I just thought that was interesting. We have another one here. So he's put out a few pages here. I thought I'd show just a couple. And just kind of interesting AI work as usual from Eddie Tree. And Javier Tomeo keeps making his daily appearance here with just more beautiful AI work. He keeps getting better and better on a daily basis, or more fascinating and more fascinating, keeping it interesting. These volcanoes. Again, looks like these Japanese screens are part of the influence here. So interesting. Volcanoes, that was called. Antique Polis. Polis is Greek for city, for those that don't know. So here you see ancient city and this other one put in the kind of the sky a little bit. So almost a double landscape, but it all kind of melds into one. So very nice work there. And finally, on the AI fashion front, Strange Thing is taking it to the next level by just designing a shoe. Good night, NFT fam. Been experimenting tonight again with AI, fashion inspired by the Renaissance period. So just kind of an interesting, another head turner from Strange Thing. That is your show today, folks. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.